place where you can feel much better. If you're hungry for the word, you'll be fed, you'll be encouraged. You won't leave just like you came. Welcome to the Smart Show. 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 This is where we reason together, a place where you can feel much better. If you're hungry for the word, you'll be fed, you'll be encouraged. You won't leave just like you came. Welcome to the Smart Show. 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 Be at peace and not in pieces. 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 Welcome to the Smart Show.
All right, all right. God bless you. God bless you. Making sure I can hear myself. Yeah. There we go. I can hear myself. Welcome to the Smart Show, another live episode. This is Tuesday. Thank you all for coming in, and for the ones who are on their way. Just one. God bless you. Cuz, God bless you. How you doing? Quite okay. You here. Boy, you on time tonight. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link. But I want to welcome everyone to the Smart Show tonight. You're listening to yours truly, Pastor Nate. We're going to talk about a very important topic tonight. It needs to be discussed because it goes on in our world. It goes on in every everything that we're involved in. It goes on in our churches, on our job, sometimes in our families. So we want to talk about it tonight, make some sense of it. We're going to talk about discrimination, fighting discrimination. God chooses minorities too. Yes, a lot of times we're not chosen, we're overlooked because of certain characteristics. Maybe I'm not tall enough. Maybe I'm not light enough. There are different things that people judge us on and, and forfeit certain opportunities. But I'm glad God is not like man. So we're going to talk about that tonight, how God views us. And we're going to delve into it. It might be 2 or 3 parts. That's why I titled this episode Part 1, because everybody has a place in this world, no matter who you are, where you came from, what your religious background is, or whatever the case is. Man will discount you, but God has a place for you. Talk with Bob. Thank you, Quiet Storm. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this link. We're going to go ahead and get started. And if we don't get through it tonight, we'll continue it on next week, because I know you all have things to do. You know, I don't like to keep you long. So thank you for coming in. Like and share. Like and share. Don't be selfish. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Come on into the Smart Show. We're going to dive into this in the next 2 minutes. So get them in here. Thank you again for coming out. And yes, we're going to go ahead and talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So quiet, whenever you want to come in, you can hit that link. I'll go ahead and get started, and you can just come on in whenever you can. Thank you, moderator, for being here. I don't see Daryl yet. He'll probably come in later. He might be in the bushes, but thank you all. Okay, so we're fighting discrimination. That's what we're doing. We're combating prejudice and racism and different things like that. And we're going to lay a foundation. We're going to describe what some of these things are, because I hear people saying a black person can't be racist and you can't, but we're going to define it, and we're going to see, what it really means. First of all, we're going to talk about discrimination. Discrimination is the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things, especially on the grounds of race, age, and sex. So we're judged based on certain characteristics. And again, this is occurs everywhere, but more notably on our job. People discriminate against us. And we're going to show you a clip later on in the live, about a minute clip, because I want to really demonstrate the point. So we are discriminated uh, some way or another. And sometimes we discriminate against other people. Yes. So we can't play like, we're the victim all the time, but we find ourselves guilty of doing that too. Now let's look at prejudice. And some of these terms share some characteristics, but there's a slight, very minute difference. Prejudice is an unfavorable opinion or feeling formed beforehand or without knowledge, thought, or reason. And that's where we get ignorance from. You judging a person based on certain characteristics, and you're forming an opinion based on that, and you really have no knowledge. And that's where we come in saying that that person is ignorant. The reason why they're judging is because they just, and when I say ignorance, I'm not being condescending. I'm basically saying there's a lack of knowledge there. Because many times we judge and we misconstrue and misrepresent what we don't understand. A lot of times we criticize what we don't understand, and we speak in ignorance. And that's happened to us a lot of time. Don't judge me based on my color. Don't judge me based on dread. Don't judge me based on my look, but judge me according to my heart. Judge me according to what's in my mind, my brain. You see what I'm saying? Make an informed judgment. Let's talk about racism. Prejudice, discrimination, like I say, some of these share some characteristics, or antagonism directed against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial group. So this has something to do with prejudice. It has something to do with discrimination, but this is talking more on in terms of race. So we're judged based on our race. And that's why I say, as a community, as a Black race, we really need to fix some things within our race. If we expect, oh, y'all don't like me already. Oh, God. If we expect other races to respect us, we need to start respecting each other. I know it's tight, but it's right. They don't like this kind of teaching, but it ain't nothing but the truth. And then when we're talking about race, I'm sure you all filled out an application. And at the end, they have this little thing here, this self-identification form or something, and it asks you, are you American Indian or Alaska Native? Are you Asian? Are you Black or African American, Hispanic or Latino, Native or Hawaii, or white? And many of you aren't comfortable answering those questions because you think that it may forfeit your opportunities for getting that job. And it'll tell you that they don't base it on that part of the application. But I don't know, people do what they want to do. God bless you, Eva Marie. Thank you for coming in. Those of you coming in, we're talking about fighting discrimination. Part 1, God chooses minorities too. I put other because that's a stupid question. Quiet Storm says she puts other. I think that's a category too. Yes, other. So yeah, like what difference does it make what color I am? I don't know. Maybe they need it for statistic purposes or for census purposes. I don't know, but they do ask that. Now let's talk about marginalization. That's the treatment of a person, group, or a concept as insignificant. So in other words, to give you an example, if your financial status is not, as high as mine, then I'm going to treat you a certain way. I'm going to make you feel inferior. And many of you may have been treated like that, or you may have unconsciously treated someone else like that, maybe because certain characteristics about them didn't match up with the majority's characteristics. So we have a tendency of making those people or people who represent that group feel inferior and feel less than. Now let's talk about stereotype. It's a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea. It's an image. All Black people are alike. That's Black folks for you. That's white folks for you. That's those Asian folks. That's stereotyping. We don't need to do that, because I might be an outlier. Don't put me in that category just because I'm black. Just because you had an experience with a lot of black folks from your neighborhood, that doesn't mean that I'm like that. So a lot of time we place that burden on other people who represent those racial groups. And again, we're speaking out of turn because we have no knowledge about that person. And that's where the ignorance factor comes in. Oh, they don't like this teaching tonight, but I got to teach it. I got to teach it. And we got one more term. It's called categorization. It's the action or process of placing into classes or groups. Again, kind of similar to stereotype, how you perceive a certain group. You know, all Asians, I've heard people make racial slurs about slanted eyes. I heard people make racial slurs about all black people look alike or all black people like fried chicken. Well, that's not the case. Just because you black, that doesn't mean you like fried chicken. Oh my God. Again, that's ignorance. And we don't need to do that. You might run into a black person. They might not be as carnivorous. They might be a vegetarian. So we can't do that. And a lot of people do that with church people. And it make the innocent people of the church suffer. Oh, you're a pastor. Oh, you just like the mother pastor. No, 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 no. I didn't molest no one. I didn't get up here preaching on Sundays and running with the money and taking the money and embezzle. You didn't hear that, on my behalf. That's what they did. So don't put me in the category with all church people. And people do that a lot. I hear people on YouTube sometimes say, oh, those church people. That's not all church people. You need to qualify that statement. Say some church folks are the church people you know. You don't know me in order to categorize me. Again, that's where the ignorance factor comes in. A lot of people speak in ignorance. Quiet, are you going to come up here? Or are you going to wait till I get to a certain point? I dropped the link again. So I just want to lay a foundation for those terms. Now, we live in a society where stereotypes, marginalization, discrimination, categorization are at an all-time high. Yes, I know slavery, blatant slavery is over. We're not on the plantation literally now, but let me tell you something. It's still in the mindsets. It's still going around in the atmosphere, right? I'm not going to tell you I'm not going to hire you because you're black. I'm not going to tell you I'm hiring you because you're of another race, right? I'll just say, thank you for coming. I'll call you back. But that's really what's going on in many cases. Oh, my God. So it's very difficult in this age being, okay, I hear what you're saying, being a minority. I don't know about you, but it's hard being a minority. Yes, I might make a decent dollar, but trust me, if I'm making a pretty decent, dollar, you can trust me. My non-minority is making 3 times as much. So many times we're given something and think that, we should be glad because we're getting a certain benefit. But I guarantee you in many cases, there's still unfair treatment where you getting a certain compensation. Trust me, your non-minority counterparts are probably getting 2 to 3 times more. Oh, I know you don't like this, but I'm doing the research, y'all. I'm telling you, this stuff I'm speaking is facts. God bless you, Bright Star. God bless you, everyone. God bless you all. Those of you who are just coming in, you're listening to the Smart Show. We're talking about fighting discrimination. Now let's go. Let's bring it to the church. Sunday is the most segregated day of the week. And we've heard people say that. Why? Because everybody goes to their particular church. Everybody goes to their particular denomination. Everybody has their own set of rules and principles where they go and worship. And then somehow we look at this as different gangs in the church because we have this superiority that my church is better than yours. I go to this church. I'm Baptist. I'm AME. I'm Church of God in Christ. I'm Pentecostal. We say that like we have a chip on our shoulder, as if the other denomination or the other church don't know Jesus. And Paul spoke against that. He said we shouldn't have any isms and schisms in the body of Christ. I was raised up like that. I was raised up in a certain denomination. But after I came to the truth and the knowledge of God and know that God just wants us to worship him without any agendas, without any categorizing. I am now non-denomination. I worship with anyone long as they worship the Lord Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter who you are. And I think that's what God intends for us. Instead of all these little isms and schisms and church names and denomination, that's not going to get you into heaven. So if that's you today, you need to come out of that. We had a tendency of saying Baptist people aren't spirit filled. How do you know that? Just because they don't act like Pentecostals, they don't speak in tongues and roll around on the floor, then we judge them and say they don't have the spirit. But a lot of those Baptist people know how to live right. While we roll around on the floor and speaking in tongues, we're gossiping in the background. Uh-oh, I can't get nobody. And we'll say those Pentecostals are holy rollers. You know, we have these little sayings and these little stereotypes about people in the church. Now, another thing, you could go to the car lot, and based on how you are dressed, that's how you'll get treated. Based on how you look, that's how you get treated. You go up to the Mercedes-Benz car lot or a high-end car lot, and you go with overalls on, looking like, you know, you don't have money. You probably won't get treated as good. They probably won't take you serious because they're judging the outward appearance. And in the corporate world, they say perception is everything. I don't agree with that, because I don't know about you. When I was growing up, I had some men in our neighborhood who had overalls on and always fixing on cars and fixing things, and they looked dirty all the time because they were already always working outside. But best believe those people had some money. You hear me? So you know, don't judge me because I look dirty. Those old men were sitting on some money. You know why? Because when people died in the neighborhood and they didn't have money to bury their loved one, guess what? They went to that man down the street who looked dirty, and that man gave them a $3,000 loan. Oh, y'all ain't gonna talk. Y'all know y'all had somebody like that in your neighborhood. And in many cases, they didn't pay that man back, but he was judged based on how he looked. But he was, you know, he was very effective in his community. Bright Star say, right, they would do it. They would do anything to turn you away. So, you know, I often joke and say, you know, when I go get me another car, I'm gonna just kind of throw a t-shirt on and not look the part and see how they would treat me. Friend, let me tell you, first of all, we got to be careful how we entertain people, because it could be an angel. And first of all, everybody is God's people. So there's no way I'm going to treat you less than because you don't look like society says you're supposed to look. I'm going to treat everybody with respect, because in the last day when I stand before God, I don't want that thrown back in my face. This person came up with overalls. His nails was dirty. He was smelling all this, and you didn't treat my servant right. God ain't going to have that conversation with me. Oh, my God in Zion. So this society, this world is really jacked up. And it's not based on good principles. My God, my God, my God. Now, someone may say, is the Bible biased? Is the Bible discriminatory? Hi, God bless you, Israel. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Those of you who are just coming into this, you're coming into the Smart Show. We're talking about fighting discrimination, and I'm sure we've dealt with this issue at some point in our life, and we might be dealing with this right now. My God. Now, in the Bible, many people say the Bible is biased, and you might agree with that. At one time I did, because it used the he's a lot. It put men in a certain position and women weren't so honored. Well, you know, man is the head. You know, that is an old model, and God doesn't change. And I think he intends for that to be that way today. But the Bible is not racist if you really look at it in context. And in many cases, when the Bible says he or man, it's talking about woman too, although it has some masculine characteristics, but in many cases it meant women too. I did a video, right? There are some women leaders in the Bible. Paul acknowledged those women leaders. If you don't believe me, look at Romans, the 16th chapter. So, but women did have to struggle because how they were perceived. And I think some of that has carried over in contemporary times right now, and it's causing a lot of racism. And, you know, we just need to be delivered of that. But the Bible is not racist. We got to admit that there are parts of it that makes it uncomfortable to read, because it's perceived to be racist. And I'm going to give you an example. Like in Ezra 9, after the Jews have returned from exile from Babylon, they were told not to mingle and marry women and of other races. You would think that's racist. You would think that God was being racist. God bless you. God bless you, Minister Coach. God bless you. We're talking about fighting discrimination. Now, Ezra 9:1 says, after these things have been done, the leaders came to me and said, the people of Israel, including the priests and Levites, have not kept themselves separate from the people of the other nation with their detestable practices. You mean to tell me God wants us to be separated? Well, in this instance, he wanted us to be separated. God bless you, sweet chocolate candy. Thank you for coming in. Well, let me tell you something. God wasn't racist, but God did not want Israel to mingle with the other people, because if they had done that, they would bring other gods with them. And we know how God feels about having other gods. He says, thou shalt not have any other gods before me. And that's why he says, don't be unequally yoked. That's why he says, light shouldn't fellowship with darkness. Come from among them, because of the worship lifestyle. I love you. I can respect you. But because you're serving other gods, come on, somebody, because you worship other gods, God forbids Israel to marry the foreign people. That's the problem King Ahab had with Jezebel. Jezebel was a Phoenician queen from her father, right, who worshiped other gods and who brought that idol worship into Israel. So Ahab followed and turned his heart from God. That's what happened to King Solomon. King Solomon had so many women, and the women turned his heart from God. Ah, my God. Dr. Maynard, God bless you. Thank you for coming in. So the Bible is not racist, but if you want to look at it as being racist when God says come from among them, then so be it. Yeah, he didn't play around when I'm trying to get with somebody who's worshiping another God and I'm worshiping the true and living God. That's a big no-no. And that's what was going on here in Ezra. So God is not, so to speak, he doesn't discriminate in a sense. Yeah, they have taken their daughters and wives for them and their sons, and have mingled the holy race with people around them, and the leaders and officials have led them away in unfaithfulness, again, because they had other gods. Yes, yes, yes. This is unquestionably harsh to the modern eyes. Today, we will look at that as discrimination, because we think that all religions should mingle together. Hey, God bless you, quiet.
Oh, okay. Hey.
There you go. I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. So, and Romans 2:1 says, for there is no respect of person with God, which means that God does not show partiality like man does. You have anything to say on that?
No, you preaching. I'm listening.
Okay. And we'll get some practical examples in a minute. I'm sure you'll chime in on that. So he doesn't show partiality. And he doesn't show unfair treatment. Now, we have this term, favor ain't fair. And a lot of Christians say that as if God is blessing me, he's showing me favor, but he's not showing you favor. Sometimes we feel like that when we say favor ain't fair. Well, I think everybody who belongs to God has access to the same favor that he gave you. You just have to trust God and believe God, just like I did. God has no respect of person. Just like he blesses me, he can bless you. But the thing about it is you have to allow him to. You got to trust him. You got to give it to God. That's why he's blessed me, and it seems like he's not blessing you. You in the way. You got to get out the way and let God do his thing, and then you can receive the same favor. Now, the blessing might vary because people have different needs, but God blesses you just as well he blesses me. So where we're minorities to men, and men look at us as inferior, and we don't get the same opportunity as our non-minority counterparts, God looks at all of us the same, and he blesses. In fact, I can just metaphorically say that God is colorblind. Oh my God. God doesn't look through the eyes. He doesn't look through the eyes of man. God doesn't look at things like we do. Now, 1 Samuel 16 and 17, and I'm going to get to some good stuff in a minute. It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance. So in other words, when Samuel was going down to anoint David as king, he had there were other brothers there. So God was telling Samuel, when you go down there, don't look on how good he looks, because you're going to automatically go to the person with the blue eyes, with 6 foot, with a 6 foot build. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing. You know, all muscular. God said, don't look at that. He said, don't look at his countenance or the height of this or his stature, because I have refused him. We talking about Saul. For the Lord seeth not as man, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but God what? He looks at the heart. And that's where we fail. That's why we speak in ignorance when we judge, when we stereotype, when we discriminate, because we look at the outer as opposed to looking at the heart of man, as opposed to looking at the history, where you come from. You know, why did you make those choices, instead of judging you? Because you don't know where I come from. You don't know what happened to me that drove me to act or to be or choose the road that I chose. But instead, you speaking on an outward appearance, not being informed, and it's making us sound ignorant. So God was schooling Samuel, telling him, look, we don't want you to make an ignorant decision, Samuel, because man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. So look at his heart, judge him based on his heart before you make this hiring decision. My God, my God. Now, are you there, Quiet Storm?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm gonna play this video here, and I think this is gonna open up conversation here. All right, I think this is where you'll come in right here. Because you don't like me talking about you don't like me talking about the Bible too much.
You start to see, you start. Y'all don't listen to him. Yeah,
I just play with it.
Here is my proof. This is sustained through my service in the U.S. military. Now, is this patriot enough?
Says, I'd give you a promotion if you weren't black. Or, gee, I'm sorry to let you go, but you know you're a woman and we can't have too many women working here. This happens almost never because most people aren't that bigoted or that stupid. But it does happen, and if you have this kind of statement and witnesses to back it up, you have a pretty good chance of winning. The more common cases are those where nobody who is a member of a minority group or a woman gets promoted, or members of those groups are disproportionately fired.
She won her case against them when they did not hire her because of her headscarf.
There's no way that any change is going to happen unless they understand what we're going through.
Are you sure that's a good idea? I mean, you heard about the shooting that just happened, right?
Yeah. I think if you focus on one group over another group, that's part of the problem. Yes, I heard about the shooting. It's horrible. It's awful. It was a tragedy, for real. But there's tragedies on all sides.
Oh, boy. Woo! What you think about that? Okay, first of all, we have 4 different scenarios. Let's talk about the Asian man first that had to show his scars. I don't know if you've seen that clip before.
Okay, was he transgender? Was he showing?
No, what? Yeah,
Okay.
I just showed clip. Thank you for asking. Just give you a little background. What happened was he was receiving so many racist remarks, you know, saying you need to go back to your country and blah, 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 and all that. So what he had to do, he said, let me show y'all, is this patriot enough? Basically saying, y'all talking about me, criticizing me and giving me racial slurs, and I fought for your company. I mean, for your country. Yeah, I fought in the army. I protected you. So the same people who are judging me and stereotyping me and being racist toward me, I protected you.
I made sure no bums coming over there.
Yeah. So that's what he was doing. Isn't that something? Sometimes you're being judged and you feel like you got to pull out all your credentials and all your stuff to shut that down. Because they judge you based on how you look. You know, and we say they come over, and you know, I know some people have certain feelings, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Coming over and selling stuff that we like, hair and nails and stuff like that. You hear that all the time, even with the Hispanic people.
what I say about that is, instead of saying what they're doing, why don't you do it? Why don't you sell? Because you see now people starting to sell hair. Could have been doing that. They
Right.
say they taking money. What they say, they getting their money and sending it back home. We can do the
Yeah.
same thing, but we too busy. Don't want to see the next person with nothing. Don't want to help our neighbors. Don't want to tell nobody how to get on. They share how they get on with each other. They
Exactly.
tell each other how to make money, how to put in the stocks, how to do this, so they can get rich together. Our people don't do that.
Yeah. And it
Hey,
happens
somebody
all
go
the
get
time.
do more. Go
Right.
ahead.
Look like something we should learn from. Like they're teaching us how to do this. Hey, y'all, we sticking together. We're owning this store and we sending our money back, and we still hadn't gathered. We still hadn't got the concept yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Just,
think when on our race, many times we pull each other down because of
yeah.
jealousy and insecure.
They're like you have. I'm just gonna say, being politically correct, black, white, Mexican. I'm saying like that. But you have
Mhm.
Mexican people that got 20 folks staying in the house. But you go, they'll go to the. I seen it. They'll go to the store, and this. You know how we judge. They gotta have some stamps. Pull out a wad of money and pay for all them groceries.
Exactly.
But we'll
Exactly.
sit there and don't want nobody staying with your cousin. Can I stay there for 2 days? I got put out. Oh Lord, child, I ain't got a 4-bedroom house. Oh
Right.
Lord, I don't let folk. But then we always want to talk about everybody else. Just like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, white people being in the sector. If they ain't did nothing to you, if they can help you, why not? Like why? I'm gonna use the one they call New Mexico.
Hmm.
They'll say they'll get mad. They don't want nobody to know that they working with him, or they don't want nobody working with him, but they'll work with him. I don't know who doing it, I'm just saying, but people will work with him behind the scenes because they're ashamed for people to know they working with him. But he come out in the forefront and let you know what he doing. The
Yeah.
difference between why I don't know his real nationality, but everybody gonna be white, black, purple, green today. But he white and he's not ashamed to show you what he doing. Where the black folks got to go behind the scenes, they're ashamed of this. You know what I'm saying? But he
Right.
does, and they dragging him, but he's not scared to come out and be who he is. So
Right.
we should do the same thing. If you work, I would say all the time when people accuse somebody of working with him, I'm like, if they working with him, they working with him. Why they can't use his knowledge and what he got to offer if that's what they want to do? Why you got to sneak and do it?
Yeah.
You ain't got
Yeah.
to tell folks you do it. I'm just saying, if it come out that you work with, okay, I sure did. Just
You
say, yeah,
grown.
I
You do what you
did.
want to do.
Yeah,
Right.
he helped me find who put the pictures out about my daughter. He helped me find who doxed me. He just be honest about it. But my point of saying that is how the white man isn't ashamed to be who they are, but we got to go behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And like I say, it's unfortunate. Sometimes it's so difficult being a minority because you have to deal with stuff like that. And I know it's not a perfect world. I know we have certain feelings about foreigners coming over and owning business and doing things like that. I mean, there are some pros and cons to. I hear a lot of people say, well, the government is helping them. They give them a certain amount of money to come and start business.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get that. I do understand where that can cause some frustration, but you
They got
know
grants for us too.
yeah, if we would
We don't
read and
take
research,
advantage of them.
yeah, we got the
Exactly.
research is there.
Exactly.
That's why I say when God shows favor, he shows it to all of us. But a lot of times we got to make an effort to seek out those things.
Because
Now,
everything you mentioned, I can come right back to you and say we got the same opportunity. Because we do.
we do, right. School, education, everything. Now, it might be difficult in some aspects, but what comes easy in this life anyway.
But how difficult is it? Because they have grants for if you stay in the projects. They got grants if you left-handed. They got grants if your mama was this. They got grants if
Yeah,
we got grants for everything. We just don't take advantage of it. And then
right.
when we down and out and poor and broke, and somebody say, "Girl, they get away free just like the PPP." Everybody, their mama got a business now. But when they
Yeah,
sit there and say, "Girl, they got a grant. They giving away money for this," then everybody want to say, "Show me how to do it." Because you trying to get over. Why couldn't
right.
you do it when you things was together or when the economy was right? They was giving out grants. You could have did it then. But now
Exactly.
everybody want to rob Peter to pay Paul to try to get over on the money. And you could have been getting the money.
Yeah. I mean, just like a Hispanic guy, I got a Hispanic guy. He's been doing my yard for the last 16 years. And I don't say, Mexicans are good at that. I mean, they're good at what they do. They do handiwork around my house. And, a lot of people like they need to go back where they're from. You know what? That's the best deal I get when he comes and does my lawn and fix things around the house.
You see what
If
I'm
I
talking
ask, huh?
I said, see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, comes every 2 weeks, whether I pay him or not, because he know if I see him next time, I'm gonna pay him. I mean, we got a good working relationship. Why would I want to mess that up? And let's just say if he on vacation and my grass get high, somebody might stop and say, "Can I cut your grass?" I'm like, no, 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 no. My guy, he'll be back. He just on
Mm-hmm.
vacation. I'm not messing that
Mm-hmm.
up. And I don't treat him and make him feel inferior, because he's a Hispanic. I tip him real good. We got a great working relationship. I respect him and he respect me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, y'all don't bother mine if you sending them back. Leave mine.
Oh, that's another thing. Um, hold on. I'm
Oh
yawning.
Lord.
That's another thing. People say that too. They'll talk about, and this is literal. People say these Mexicans out there, hey, he, ha, ha, they cutting grass. Da, da, da. They sit around there cutting grass and making their money. While you sitting there laughing at them, they cutting grass and making their money.
Doing the jobs we don't want.
Come
They come
on,
get the jobs we don't want.
come on now.
Because we want to be CEO. We want to sit up and don't want to work for nothing. A lot of our
But
young people.
down each other. If you couldn't, that's
Yeah.
why you out there cutting grass. That's why you out there. Just like I done heard people on here drag folks about what they said. They got a roof over there. You stay
You
in the
got a roof.
apartment. And
This is my shack. So I don't know. I don't never
yeah.
attack people's livelihood. I'm just glad whatever the Lord blessed me with, I'm good with until he blessed me
But
better.
then that goes back to they'll sleep 20 deep in the house and got money, stocks, bonds, and everything else. You
Yeah,
want a 4-bedroom mansion that you barely can pay for, but don't want about staying with you.
right. So you
Sure.
see the trade-offs there, because I know growing up, I know you're right. We like to protect an image. I know
Exactly.
from my community where I come from now, we were poor. And I often say, raised up with the roaches. But believe me, when we stepped at that house, we had our hair right, our haircut,
Come on.
our clothes were pressed and everything. We stepped right, but didn't have a dime.
Come on. Come on. Sure. Even
Yes,
with the clothes, you can what like most black people. I ain't gonna put all y'all in a bright star. I ain't gonna put all us in. I don't even know a bright star black. Look, I just throw you in the category. But most black people, they follow the leader.
yeah,
Now, if they have they want to wear Gucci and Prada and this, that, and other, they down, they sharp. If I want to
yeah.
put on the smart show outfit, what state you got on? They barely wore food, but what state you got on? But let a celebrity or one of these white people put it on. Everybody, they mama be wearing.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be wearing smart show down.
Yeah. And I used to be like that. But as you get older, and I pray that everybody in the chat is doing this too, it's not about image. Learn how to invest, learn how to save your money, look for things to invest, because as we get older, I don't know about retire. I don't know about Social Security. You got to take an interest in your own self and invest, put that money somewhere else. I'm not going out and buy $100,000 car because I got $100,000. I might
See what
buy
I'm
a
talking about?
$20,000 car and put the rest up. So we got to manage our money better. So we can't criticize the other person because they manage their money and of another race. You mad at them because you failed to do what you're supposed to do in many
Right.
cases.
Right.
Oh my God. All right.
And I have a cousin that she can go to the thrift store and you would think she a millionaire when she come and see. She one of the thrift shoppers. One time her and her daughter went. Me and her daughter ended up sitting on the window ledge waiting on her because she will go through everything, get stuff with tags on it, name brand stuff. She can shop and she'll go to the spots where like we went one time because me and her daughter looking at folks coming in. It wasn't nothing but the Caucasians. Lady
Right.
came up in there with a Rolls Royce and a fur coat on. Then they'll get up in there and negotiate, talking about this costs too much. Me and my niece looking like we in the thrift store. What do she expect? Baby, they be negotiating. Child.
Hey, they know how to save that dollar. Wow.
But see, we gonna go to the mall and spend our last.
Oh yeah. So we got to manage our money right. So that Asian man, he had to go through something, and many of us, are going through little situations too. Like I say, at work, they might not tell you, but it's there. You know it's there. You ain't crazy. You know
Yeah,
what's
people
going
go
on
through
around
stuff,
you.
but you don't know what they going through. Even if you
Right.
have somebody in good spirit and a person
Yeah.
say they always happy, they act like there ain't nothing going on with them. You don't know that one person might literally have God first, getting their tail whooped at home, but walk out that door with a smile, saying this too shall pass, on her knees every night praying,
Yeah.
doing all this stuff. But somebody that don't know on the outside looking in want to judge the person. And then, like you said, the person end up telling their story. Then it's something totally different. Then they, oh, it's almost like you said about the Asian guy. He had to say something for people to feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't. He had to pull out his scars and stuff.
Hmm. His arm, his soldier wounds.
And sometimes we got to pull out our credentials and everything else to prove to them that, hey, we just as qualified as the next person. Quiet Start, I want to thank you for coming up. Again, thank y'all for in the chat. I'm not in it. I'm just saying thank you. Those of you, this is Quiet Storm. I put her link in the chat. Subscribe to her channel. I think you only got 8 videos on your new channel though, right? Something like that.
It's the same channel. I just
Oh, you just changed it. Yeah.
yeah.
But
I
that's
had
your
to put them
that's
back up.
that's your link in the chat. Okay, so this next scenario, the Black Lives Matter. Now, the black people were in the break room at the table. They were discussing. There was a shooting that happened, and they were basically saying no one really understands how we feel. So he took the notion to go up to the board and write Black Lives Matter. You saw that, right? And the black folks left the room, and when the white people came in, he scratched black out and he wrote all. Now, that is true. All lives do matter. But given the time that happened, what the black folks are going through, and they just experienced a tragedy in the black community, that just really was inappropriate for the other race, not being racist, but the other race who probably didn't understand what the black race was going through, to scratch black out and put all. Do you agree
Well,
with
what I
that?
had to say about that was the best example I can give is if a white person had someone murdered in their family, just a car accident, walking down the street, got shot, just some innocent. They could have got shot by a white person, but a white person got shot, and they are in the hospital praying that their loved one lives and they on life support. And I say, my family member got shot too, folks. We don't care. They just be so like, who cares?
Yeah,
And
insensitive.
yeah, I done had people shot in my family, and they can die. My family member died. Now what?
Yeah,
What you think how you think they gonna feel?
right.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
same way
insensitive.
as saying all lives matter. All lives do matter. Just like your family member get shot matters, but it's not about all lives right now. It's not about my family member right now. It's about your family member that just got shot.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It is. It's about your and what was going on in that
At
moment. You're
that
right.
time, yeah.
Let's be sensitive to the time, and let's just, sometimes it's just best not to say nothing, do nothing, just
Exactly.
support. But sometimes you can just say the wrong thing, and what you're saying could be right, but it's just not really appropriate at that time. And when he went and raced that, yeah, it was true, all lives matter, but what were you trying to prove to, you know what I'm saying? You came behind them and did that. So yeah, let's see what Cuz says
Mm-hmm.
here. He says, I work in a corporate office. I told a young black man, you can wear your pants dropped, underwear showing. He said, they said it's casual wear. Now he does not have a job. That's right. I mean, our young man, I understand expressing your culture, but we got to be mindful of the world we live in. We can't go on these corporate jobs sagging like this. So, young man, you got to pull up your pants. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, Quiet Storm.
Yeah, pull up your pants. I agree. Because I don't see a reason. Everything has a style. I've
Right.
seen people that has the swag, like the sag, but it ain't
Yeah.
the sag, and it gives them a swag. That
Yeah.
look, it's a style, so it look good.
Yeah,
But
it's
to
taste.
have them
Doing it
like
in taste.
hanging like they're about to fall, ooh, I do not like that. All
Now,
I
if
see
you're,
is underwear, juicy booty, and
oh Lord, that's nasty. Yeah,
I
you're
can't
right. And I
stand
tell
that.
people, I'm like, I told one young man, we were joking, I'm like, hey, if you're gonna sag, man, don't wear no white underwear, please.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
sag with
like,
white underwear. If you're gonna sag right. Good
I don't
gracious.
like that. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I
Mm-mm.
mean, unless you're in the fashion industry, I can see, but I don't think you need to go in no corporate job with sagging
Mm-mm.
and with loud orange hair or yellow hair. You know what I'm saying? It's they already have the people already have a perception about us. We just giving it to them.
And even that, when you said orange hair, I've seen hairstyle like people with the white hair, the orange hair, that looks good. But when you come into work looking like Ronald McDonald, it's almost like
Right.
people mess up stuff. Cause you can have one girl coming there with orange hair that look good. Now here she come, next one thinking she can do it. She look a hot mess, which make the boss say, "Don't nobody wear it."
Right.
Because you know what I'm saying. But this girl look good with her. She put it
Yeah.
together well.
It depends on how you fix yourself, and and everybody can't wear the same thing that the next person. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Bright Star said it's the way he did it. You're right, Bright Star. He could have left the sign up, but gave his all lives matter explanation. Yeah. Minister Coach said, I cannot get on my soapbox here. I know you got a lot to say about that, Coach. Yes, what we're talking about, probably from the area you came from, you may have a lot to say on this subject. Bright Star, I'm not a fan of saggy pants. Very unattractive. Yes. All right, so let's talk about the next scenario. This scenario, the woman, it was a big to do a few years ago. This Muslim woman, she went to Abercrombie, I think that's how you
Mm-hmm.
say it, and Fitch is a clothing company, and she was denied employment because of the scarf. The Muslims like to wear their scarf,
Mm-hmm.
and also they leave a certain time of day to pray. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
corporations have issues with that because not so much I'm denying your religious right, but you're leaving sometimes at a time when we're busy. So I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna respect your religious views, but this is business too. Business is business. And I hired you here to do the job, and this is the business time of the moment. And you're gonna leave to pray. Now I'm a praying man, but I know there's a time and place for everything. You can't go on them people's job and say, I'm going to pray all day. That's not what they hired you for. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You pray on your break. You go in the bathroom and pray or whatever, however you want to do it. But I just don't think you need to just take off whenever and just pray, because now you're affecting the business. Business is business. So,
Yeah.
but her being denied an employment because of a scarf, now that's a different story. Because women do wear scarf. So why didn't you hire the woman because she wore her scarf? But she won that court. I mean, I think it went to the Supreme Court and she won that ruling. So
Yeah, she should have.
yeah.
The
So yeah,
reason.
that I wouldn't have denied your employment because you wore a scarf. But like this praying 5 times a day, doing business hours, then I might have an issue with that, because you got to go away and pray for what, 10, 15 minutes, and then you got
Oh
to come
yeah.
back and do that multiple times a day.
Well, the thing about that is the reason I agree with the religion is because you have, if you're gonna discriminate on her for that, then you're gonna discriminate on people that got bladder issues, that gotta go to the bathroom, people that got diabetes. Like you got people that have real issues that have to go. You can't say, well, you don't know her issue. She gotta go. She got medical issues. Okay, I got God issues. I want to pray. So that's why I agree with a person taking their time to pray if they want to do it.
So you
I
you agree
also
that
will
she,
say if she trusts God like that and that's something that she does, and say she get up 5 times a day, let that job know, because if that job meant for you, God gonna bless you with it. You're gonna get that job. Let them know in the interview, I'm a Muslim, we pray 5 times a day. If there's an issue, let me know now. Don't wait till you get the job and
that's the
then
problem,
get
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you trust God. So if you trust him. Go tell him up front. Don't wait to get the job so you can do what she did, turn around and sue him. Now she still she still was right, wasn't wrong for wanting to do her culture, but at the same time, what would Jesus do? Would he set somebody up to sue him, and then you know what I'm saying? So tell the
Right.
folks up front.
Right. Because I've gone to the malls and, some of the Muslims, they own the stores in the mall. And I would go in the malls and I'd see them in the back of the store, doing this on their carpet, facing
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I believe that's their ritual. And I think they do it 5 times a day, if I'm not mistaken. They do it
Mm-hmm.
5 times a day. So whatever's
Mm-hmm.
going on, they're going to stop at that certain time and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to pray. So I'm like you. Maybe the the lady should have had a conversation in the interview. Hey, I pray 5 times a day for 10 minutes. At this
Mm-hmm.
time, this time, this time. So maybe you should work that out and say, okay, we can break your lunch hour and your break. Let's just say you get an hour lunch and 2 15-minute break. That's an hour, 15-minute breaks. So maybe we can work it out where we break that up during your prayer time. Instead of you taking a lunch, you could use that. I would have done something like that.
Yeah, and truth be told, she don't have to tell them because that's your personal business.
Right.
But at the same time, I know I'm going into a job that if it's a corporate job or whatever, how jobs work. So I'm not gonna, even though, okay, if I go into a job and I know I pray times a day, I'm gonna pray my 5 times a day. But at the same time, I understand that how these corporate jobs are, how the men are, how the women are, how to this. So when I
Right.
go in there to let them know, I'm gonna stand firm in what I'm gonna say. Like I pray 5 times a day. Now, if you want to work with my schedule, something like that,
Right. I got you.
yeah.
But
But I'm not gonna, yeah.
right. So I don't know if she there was a specific time all the time, because let's just say Quiet Storm comes in work, and I guess I'm speaking from a manager's perspective because I've been in business for 20 years and been a
Mm-hmm.
manager. So
You
this
got
is
to brag.
I've seen where we had busy times and I've seen where we've been short staffed. So I may say, Quiet Storm, I know it's 2 o'clock. You go and pray this time, but can you wait 15 minutes? You're the only one on the floor right now on the phones. I need you here can you just go to pray maybe
Mm-hmm.
whenever we get through this rush? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I don't think nothing wrong with that because again, if you got God truly in your heart, God gonna lead you to do what you need to do. It's like we talking like God is a lunch break or a pill or you know what I'm saying, something that I turn on and off. Or a diet I'm on. He's not a diet. He's not all that stuff. God is God. So I can pray anytime to God. You know what I'm saying? So if
Mm-hmm.
you say, can you wait till 3? It's 3 o'clock. Can you give me a few minutes? The God in me say, yeah, because you're not taking away from. I'm not going like people that say, oh, because I pray at 2 o'clock every day. No, you don't. Because if you're at home or if you got something to do, you're gonna change it around. So don't
Yeah,
act like just because you're at work and you trying to prove a point, you gotta pray at no 2 o'clock. No, you don't.
exactly. Exactly.
No, you
Because
don't.
again, your business is business. We respect you want to pray, but then you came here to do a job too.
Mm-hmm.
So we
And
got
that's
to keep
probably
that
what
in
I
mind.
was saying when I say when you get on these jobs, you know how the company is.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
know I'm gonna pray my 5 times a day, but I'm still going into this job knowing how jobs are, the
Right.
type
So
of
I
job
might
they have.
Right. So I might not be able to go at 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock and one
As
o'clock,
long
those
as I can
specific
go.
times. Long as I
Mm-hmm.
can get my 5 times
Yeah.
in. But I don't know if the mother minister Maine, I know you said 5 times a day. You seem like you have some knowledge on the Muslim race. I don't know if it's necessary for them to go at a specific time or as long as they get the
I
five
think
times
they
a
do
day.
try to go at Pacific time,
Yeah,
sunrise and everything. But the thing about it is, you can pray where you at.
you can,
If
because
you
we
if you if, like you said, you went to that shop and they was back on their knees and stuff, didn't care who saw, you drop down on your knees right at that desk at work. I'm just saying, child. Because the
yeah.
thing about it is, you can't talk like I had to pray sometime myself. Like, Lord, don't have me out here. I don't want to be looking crazy. But if God tell you drop on your knees, sir, but you gonna do it.
Maybe
So
she's doing break. Well, I agree with that too. Emily Fistworth, thank you for coming in. She said maybe she'd pray during break. Now that's what I would do. If I got a lunch break, because I know I'm there doing the job. If I'm fasting on lunch break, then I will go to the car, read my word for that hour,
mhm.
because I feel like you need to use wisdom too. I can't go on them people's jobs speaking in tongues and hallelujah shout. I can't go and do all that and be praying out. I can't do that.
But that's
you
what
know,
we do. That's different again between different races.
Right.
Black folks, we'll take our lunch break to pray. We had a Bible.
Take a smoke break.
We'll do that. But
We would
other
be
than
took
that,
2 hours of
not.
the people money every day. Only work
Yep,
6 hours and
sure
take
will.
2 hours.
Girl, where you finna go finna run to church right fast? I'm dang, I'm on my lunch break. I done seen folks at church with uniforms on. I be like,
My church only
Black
20
folks
minutes
would
down the
do
road.
it.
I'll be back.
Black folks would do it in a minute. Would go to
Well,
church on
well,
lunch break.
Miss Quiet, you came. I thought you supposed to be back in hours. 2 hours later. Well, boss man, I'm sorry. The spirit moved, and
That's how we do it.
they ain't trying to understand that.
Then
You here to do a job.
we get talking about, oh, so I can't pray now.
The Holy Ghost came in there. They ain't trying to hear that on the job.
We
So
sure
yeah.
will.
But one more scenario, we'll be finished. So we had one more scenario of the women in the workplace, and you heard the guy saying, "Hey, we can't just come out and say, hey, because you're black, you're a woman. You know, if you weren't a woman, if you weren't black, I would pay you more." You know, he said that, but then he said they don't tell you that, but that's actually what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, let's say if they start laying people off and they get rid of the minorities, and somebody goes in there and audit, and the people who are left are mostly the non-minorities, and you only got a very minute minorities, if that stayed. All the other ones let go. And I think that's why we get these Class A lawsuits and different things like that. And a lot of companies, when I was doing research, they really didn't want any. Now, when I say minorities, I'm not talking about just black now,
Just
y'all.
black.
I'm talking about black, I'm talking about Hispanic, I'm talking about women, I'm talking about people who are short, the minority group, people who have disabilities. Minority can span beyond just race, and we're being judged because of these differences. So you go in the company and you don't see nothing but, let's just say, and I'm not racist, you don't see nothing but 6 foot well-built, Caucasian male.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture? Where are the women? Where are the short folks?
And I'm gonna tell you, half time we mess ourselves up because half of us black folks ain't got no patience, because we ready to cuss you out right then and there when you make that first mistake. We ain't got time to be waiting on no lawsuit for it to go, because we've been to pop somebody before that and turned on us. And that's how it usually happens. You can have, I bet you, I know 80% at least black people in the workplace could have had a lawsuit, but they messed it up because they turned around and cursed them out.
Yeah, you don't do that.
They
Right.
threatened them, cursed them out there. And it's like you had a lawsuit right in your hand, but see, you done cursed them out, quit the job, smacked them upside the head.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, and then it turned into you being insubordinate, you this, that, and they'll turn it on you. And now you sitting there without a job looking crazy. Now you trying to explain to HR what really happened. Too late now. It's your word against theirs, and they still got their job, and you out on the street looking crazy.
So what my advice would be is, if any of you in the chat are on a job and you feel like you've been discriminated against and it's very obvious and this is an ongoing behavior, I would encourage you to journal, start writing, taking notes and making notes of that. And let's just say every time there's an incident where it seemed like it's that, write that down. So when you do go to HR or whoever complain, you got a list. You've done your homework.
But you still got to be quiet while you
you got dates and everything.
You have folks, because I'm writing down everything they do. Everybody ain't gotta know what you doing.
Right.
And you go messing yourself up again.
That's right, Bright Star. Don't mess up when you could have benefited. Yeah. Don't mess up. Let's see what honestly, I would pray for them who discriminate. Yeah, we should definitely pray for them. We have to do a lot of praying, Amnesty world, because there's a lot of discrimination going on out there. And I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel about this, but sometimes I think we discriminate within our own race too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, how can we expect the world to respect us when we don't respect ourselves in many instances? Yeah.
Because I can't call you every name in the book. Then soon somebody else say the N word, you ready to fight? No. Because you done called me an 8-year-old and said I do this, that, and the other, and I'm a this, that, and this, that. But soon they say a word, you ready to fight. You got to show them how you want to be treated.
That's right. So that's all I had today for this. I think this is something that needs to be talked about. I think we really got into some good stuff, some good examples. And we'll continue the conversation on next week. You know, it's at that 9 o'clock hour.
Yep.
You know how we do it. We don't stay long.
Mm.
But I want to thank you for coming up again. You've been coming
Well,
through.
thank you. I see I've been
You
doing
must enjoy the
good.
smart show over here.
Yeah, you are.
I'm trying to change it up because y'all know I used to do the Bible study and used to just talk. So we're trying to change it up a little bit.
You're doing a good job. Good job.
Well, thank you for coming, and we'll continue this next week from a different perspective. We'll
Bye,
still be talking about it.
everybody. While he give his closing.
Yeah, say bye to Quiet Storm, and don't forget to go and subscribe to her channel. Again, that's her channel link right there. Click on that. She got some good stuff. She doesn't stay long. You might give us a minute video. Sometimes 2 minutes.
I've been doing good. I don't need you to be
Yeah.
talking about me. Thank
yeah.
you, Bright Star. Bye.
Thank you.
See y'all
Thank
next
you.
week.
All right. Thank you. Thank you again for coming. All right, everyone. That concludes our episode tonight. God chooses minorities too. To let you know that, many of us are different height, shape, sizes, color, or whatever. But God has a plan for all of us. Don't let nobody make us feel inferior because of our differences. God deems all of us important. In closing, thank you for coming out to the Smart Show tonight. I bless each and every one of you. And y'all meet me here next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I think I got one more week, y'all. I'm still real busy, so I'm not going to be producing every day this week. I might start it up next week. This is my last week of tying up some loose ends. So I know I'll produce a morning nuggets on Friday, but next week I'll have to see. We might can get back where we're doing it every morning. Thanks for your patience. Thanks again for coming out tonight. In the meantime, in between time, be at peace and not in pieces. Stay blessed.
This is where we reason together, a place where you can feel much better. If you're hungry for the word, you'll be fed, you'll be encouraged. Be at peace and not in pieces. Be at peace and